And guys, welcome everyone. Day 2 of our Wealth Creator Challenge. I am so excited to see you all here. We have some regulars, we have some new faces this week, and I'm very, very excited to hear from our new friend, Christine. She's going to be sharing her genius with us. When I first had an opportunity to meet Christine, she shared with me this topic that I thought would bring such value to our community, which is basically the 3 non-negotiables to grow your business. We talked about yesterday, some of us are here because we want to be a better steward of our finances. We want to partner with God in our wealth building. Some of us are here because we want to serve others. Actually, most of us are here because of that. And some of us are here because we're actually discovering what it's like to build a business in the financial coaching and Kingdom Wealth Specialist space. So, wherever you're coming from, whatever your background, we're excited. All of us have also made a decision that we are going into business with God, whether it's in our own business, our ecosystem, and our household, right? Whether we've are simply focusing on that, or we're looking at maybe supporting others in business. There's people from all walks of life. So wherever you're coming from, you're in the right place. I'm going to pray us in today, friends, and then we're going to get started. So, Heavenly Father, I just thank you for this sisterhood that has said yes to you. I thank you for the wisdom that we continually get downloaded personally and through others. I thank you for seeking God's wisdom in our finances, the wisdom that we know the more we seek, the fewer miracles we will need. And Lord, I ask you to help us all today stay focused, play full out, and take action on what we're learning so that we can create this ripple effect of generosity and bringing the love of Jesus to more. In this, I pray your precious name. Amen. So friends, before we get started, I wanted to give you a couple of helpful hints that I forgot to do yesterday that I think really, really have always helped me, especially when I was first getting into the space of entrepreneurship and workshops. We talked about yesterday, you can get, unfortunately, in a cadence of being sort of a professional meeting attender. And what we want to make sure we do is that, yes, obviously showing up is half of the battle. There are actually 53 people that signed up, believe it or not, for this workshop. And I find it, Christine, you and I need to have a powwow on this sometime. Like, what is it? Why do some people show up for themselves? Why is it that we sign up and don't necessarily show up? Right? But I want to give you some tips and tricks. First of all, as you know, if you are not naked, it's not dangerous. Get your cameras on. I know that Christine's going to give you more of her energy. I know that I will too. Get your notebooks out. There is something powerful, absolutely, about slides. I do have a few for you today. We didn't have much yesterday, but I do have a few today. But there's really something that happens when you're taking notes, when it's getting on paper. I want to remind you, for those of you that are new with us, there's some steps that we encourage you for effective note taking. So if there's something you're going to take action on, I want you to write an A on it. There's a couple of things that I'm going to tell you to write an A, but I want you to have this own guidance for yourself. If there is an affirmation that you want to create for yourself, we're huge into affirmations in our community. We talk about an affirmation is really a lie that you tell yourself until it becomes true. In a lot of ways, I personally think it's actually an idea that God planted in your heart, not a lie. And you get to continue to repeat it until it comes true. And I want you to put an AF by that. Put an AF and start to create and accumulate these affirmations for yourself. Maybe it's a scripture version of the affirmation, right? So take that time, do that for yourself. Yesterday, we talked about the idea that we all have a story that we're coming from. And I want to share with you a story briefly that might resonate with some of you. I came to a workshop just like this, and I was, first of all, just excited about the wisdom that these professionals were sharing with me. I thought my parents did as well as they could with money, but they really didn't know what they didn't know about money, right? My parents nearly got divorced when I was 9 years old. And a big part of it was about money, the way that my dad was handling things in their marriage, that they weren't communicating with one another, and it nearly destroyed them, right? I personally have my own story when it comes to money. You heard about my amazing ex-husband, yesterday, that did leave when I had a 3-month-old and a 3-year-old. And I will tell you, a big part of our challenges was around finances. And so, for me, when I first heard the mission of No Family Left Behind, of helping women raise their financial IQ, that really appealed to me. I thought, where was this when my parents were struggling? As I became a mother, I thought, wow, why isn't this information in school? And I said yes to raising my own financial IQ. I said yes to building a business in this space. Now, what happens? Any of us that have ever said yes to a business where there is a system that's already been designed for us, we are stepping into a system. Tell me if this sounds familiar. Next, what you're going to do, you're going to make a list of the top 25 people you know. You're going to make a list of your friends, your relatives, right? You're going to make a list of the people that you know would be good at this, your hairdresser, all the things, right? Okay. And guess what? You're going to take this list and you're going to share this information that we have. Maybe you're going to send a 3-way text. And then guess what? Because of the system, you're going to be making $100,000 within probably 6 to 12 months. Okay. Raise of hands if anyone has ever possibly said yes to this kind of opportunity. Maybe you're not like me. Maybe perhaps you still believe those things are possible, but they just haven't become true for you. Raise of hands for those of you that resonates with. Okay. This was absolutely me. I 100% agree that there are systems that we get to follow that are amazing, that we don't have to invent. I think there's wisdom behind that. What I didn't know is how much work I had to do on myself before maybe I was really ready to implement those systems, right? There's my friend Lorna. Lorna and I, we've had so many conversations about this, how much work we had to do on ourselves before we really were able to fully embrace the systems that we've been blessed with. And I share that because I'm sure that if this wasn't your exact story, I would imagine there was an element of truth in some of those, but I want to make sure you realize that, just like we talked about yesterday, the rule of 72 when it comes to our money multiplying and compounding, the thing that compounds the most, that's even stronger than money, my friends, is you. What you learn, what you do with that learning, and then taking that to the nth degree. Validation is something that we all are seeking. Would we agree? I think we all have a little bit of this, we talk about in our community, imposter syndrome or approval addiction that we have. We're seeking approval. My goal, the more that I step deeper into my faith and trusting God and partnering with Him in my business, my prayer for myself and all of you is that The validation that we seek is from him, from no one else, no other external force, no other person that seems like they've got their stuff together. You know, money is a tool in our economy, but money is really only validation of the value that we provide. Wouldn't you agree? And I just want you to invite you to the possibility of what you can create when you truly decide to partner with God in business. I personally think absolute hell on earth for me would be looking down the road and seeing the person I could have become, um, as opposed to continuing to trust, continuing to partner with God, and really continuing to become that person. So, I want to invite you to really be thinking about that as you're learning, as you're growing with us. What does that version of Christine look like? What does that version of Nancy look like? What does that version of Jennifer look like when you are truly in harmony with the Holy Spirit within you? I want people to say when I die, boy, that girl had the Holy Spirit within her. How do I live my life like that, regardless of what business you are in? We are all here because we have chosen to take a stand when it comes to our finances. We know that maybe we've made some choices that were difficult. Maybe we've had times in our life that things happened to us that we weren't expecting, some loss in our life. I shared with you a little bit about the story yesterday of my mom and how we lost her just too soon. I'm going to share a visual with you really quick. And I want to just think about, are there times in your life where you have faced a challenge and you have been paralyzed, but then also times where you have been fueled? And I want to encourage you that God gets to use those times in your life. And how he does that is different for all of us. This is a picture I like to share about my mom and my best friend, Elizabeth. Elizabeth was 44 years old when she died. She had 4 children under the age of 12. And there's really the tale of two cities with these two women, because my mom, she had her and daddy, they went on to have this love affair of 52 years. They overcame the challenges that they had when I was young. And they did a lot of work on themselves. My parents financially, my parents never made more than like 65,000 a year. But you know what they did? They had protection in place in the form of life insurance. They had everything wrapped up as perfectly as you could, with like a bow almost around their investments and different things. What they also had was pensions. How many of you have maybe parents in your life or grandparents that talk about this pension thing? Did you know that only 4% of companies now offer pensions? Okay, so we're going to talk today a little bit about one of the most crucial things that we believe is absolutely fundamental to building wealth with God, which is protecting what we have. And I'm going to share a couple of reasons that ways that we do that. But Elizabeth, on the other hand, she passed away and she had nothing in place. So it really is a tale of two cities. So I want to encourage you to think about, so today, right now, we are blessed to be in partnership with an amazing man, Pedro Adeo. Many of you know him. He is the founder of the 100X community. And I have been, and many of our team here have been blessed to be in partnership with him. And he talks about this kingdom wealth formula. What the heck is that, right? The Kingdom Wealth Formula starts with protection first. Now, protection first can mean a number of different things, but I'm going to share a couple of things that are absolutely crucial. And he talks about, Nehemiah in the Bible was successful where others had failed because he first built the walls of protection. And before building the walls, most people, what the worldly way to build wealth is I just want to earn and multiply. I'm going to skip the first step. I'm not going to protect what I have, right? And so I want to just encourage you to think about your own wealth building journey. Have you implemented protection first in your life? And there's different types of protection. Let's talk about the things that we automatically think of. We think of car insurance, we think of health insurance, we think of life insurance. How many people have insurance on their phones, their TVs? There's all sorts of things, right, these days. And it's interesting because there's so many people that have like literally insurance on this or insurance on their car, but they don't have insurance on these two hands that actually build the wealth. There's 3 phases of our lives that we are on in our journey of wealth building. We are in the phase where our hands are working. We're trading our time for money, right? And we talked about yesterday, we talked about some of the biggest mistakes that people make when it comes to wealth building. How many of you remember the cash flow quadrant? Is this a new concept for some of you? I know some of you, this was very new to me when I first started this entrepreneurial journey. I was very firmly on the left-hand side. I was a highly paid commission salesperson. I loved having no cap on my income, but I had never heard of this system-driven business where you could create this passive residual income where you could work with the hands of many, right? Where you have royalties and dividends and things like that. One of the things that I realize now as I've gotten deeper into working with people that are building businesses, I find that usually what ends up happening is they own a job. Raise of hands for those of you that feel like you might own a job a little bit. Yes, you've hired yourself. You have found your calling, but you're unfortunately wearing all the hats, right? That's why I love the system that we've created and we have in partnership with Pedro, and there's a reason that we've chosen this industry. So first of all, think about yourself. In your own situation right now, are you protected? If something happened to you, would there need to be a GoFundMe account that started for your family to do the fundamental things? In your business itself, are you protected when it comes to your income? And I think that's one of the things that I love most about a business that has a system, because you do have, as you get deeper into your system, there is a level of protection there too on your income. Imagine what it would have been like, my friends, if during COVID, when this hit, everyone had, we think 90% of people should have a job. We know that the entrepreneurial journey is not for the faint of heart. We know that it takes time and energy to have that compounding effect on our self-development. But imagine if everyone that was hit by COVID had a system in place, a business that continued to pay them, that was leveraging the skills and abilities of others. Imagine what that would be like. And I want you to think about 12 months from now, what you can do personally in partnering, with us in our system. There's something really powerful about when you think about protection first, protecting our life with life insurance, protecting our income by having a system-driven business. There's also a very, very powerful concept in the Kingdom Wealth strategy where we get to make sure we protect the assets we've already gotten, the assets we've already accumulated. Um, Many of us are aware of what's been happening in the market. You know, the last couple of months, the market has been all over the shop. Anyone seen kind of the crazy ups and downs of the market? We know that in 2022, the market dropped 19%. And it was, unfortunately, a lot of people didn't even know it was happening. So really what's been happening in 23 is we just really made up for what we lost. So what you can also do is think about protecting what you currently have. Um, so what is it that you've already accumulated? Is it in a place that you can protect from further loss, from market returns going down instead of up, right? These are all steps of protection that we talk about in our Kingdom Wealth formula. And I want to, just really make sure that you are taking advantage. If you haven't already, you will be getting a call from one of our success coaches that will be able to support you along this journey. You know, many of you have already been in our community and you're already working with one of us. But if you are new to our community, we want to make sure to know that to expect that call from one of our success coaches, help you along the way. So Christine, I am actually going to bring you to the stage right now. And I want to, first of all, Christine and I had a chance to meet. It was through, one of our communities that were both really, Christine, I don't know how much you've done with them lately, but we met in a community, which I love personally. Personally, that's the very best way. When I think about the faces I can see right now, I don't see everybody's faces because not everyone has their cameras on. But every one of the people I see, I've actually met in a community or a type of environment that it encourages community, right? I knew that, when Christine and I met, she mentioned God made the decision that this is our time and we are a conduit to the light. I wrote that down, Christine, when we first met. It's already written. And I love that you embrace that same philosophy. And yet willpower alone won't get us there, right? We get to expand, but we also get to do it through people and connections. And wealth is multifaceted, and connections and community is a big part of that. So Christine, I'm excited to learn from you myself. Please start with, I'll give you the stage. You let us know where you want to take us.
Beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate it. And it's true. I want to just say this because willpower alone is what gets you started. The idea, the spark. But it isn't enough to sustain you because it is the willpower, the white knuckling that leads to the overwhelm, that leads to the exhaustion. And I am not about playing at an exhausted level. I'm about playing at an uplifted level. And that means that I have to look at what's the opposite side of the coin of willpower. It's capacity. And it is about expanding capacity. And that's what community really brings us. It is also what we're going to bring to you today. So I am a business mentor. I help people find the clients that they're here to serve and to be in the right rooms where right opportunity comes your way. Opportunities like the rooms Lisa and I met in and said, we can go do amazing things together and add capacity to the world. Because truthfully, I 100% agree with what she stands for, which is when you don't know about wealth, really is a disadvantage. And wealth is not just financial. It is your relationships. It is your spiritual health. It is your physical health. It is so multifaceted. But in the language that I get to play, that God has given me the path, it's the language of business. And I tell people candidly, I did not set out to mentor people. I set out to be a great entrepreneur. And I built my first business 1 hour a day, being really consistent in the things that grow a business. Because I spent all of my life in the world of business. It was my language. And it started to lead to cups of coffees, glasses of wine, walks on the river, and said, what gives? Because I like the idea of this, but where do I go find these people? And that is still the most prevalent question people ask me. And I said, business is elegantly simple. So often that somebody sent me this to put on my wall because I say it all the time because I believe it. And I'm going to show you how to create wealth in the language of business. And I will tell you this simple truth. There are only 3 reasons why you do not have the result you want to date. The great news, all 3 are solvable. So my invitation to you is to figure out where you are and then go solve it. Really simple, right? So the first thing if you don't have the clients you're looking for and you already have a business or you're thinking, where do I go find them? The first reason you might not be where you want to go is you simply say, I don't know how to get there. That's a knowledge-based gap. Totally fair. You didn't get born hatched knowing how to do this. It's an acquired skill, but you get to acquire it. My invitation is come acquire it with me. I'll take you the fast track. But that's a knowledge-based problem. That's a how problem. Number 2 is if you believe you know what to do and what you're doing is working to a certain degree, but you feel that you're not tapping into the conduit and the speed and the impact that God has for you. And if that's the case, you doing it on your own is going to be a frustrating journey because you're not meant to walk alone. You're meant to walk in partnership. You're meant to walk in partnership with others. And so I will tell you, you have blind spots. Looking for them for yourselves is like trying to find the last elusive egg when you're Easter egg hunting. It's challenging. It doesn't have to be challenging. That's a choice. Make another. Get help, get a mentor, and take the fast track. The third reason you don't have maybe where you want to go is truthfully, you are in your own way. Hands up if you've ever been in your own way. And you're thinking, it is all about me. And if I just willpower my way there, I will get there. Well, let me tell you, if you think that willpower will get you there, I just want you to go back to where we started, which is not willpower. Willpower actually starts you, but it actually becomes a very quick quicksand for you. Capacity is what you need to expand, because when you are winning, and winning to me is expansion of wealth on all the dynamics, 5 of them, that wealth really represents. When you are winning with wealth, you never get tired. You never get exhausted. You never lack faith. And so if you are in your own way, you lack the discipline of faith, in which case, get out of your own way and solve capacity. So I said today I would show you the roadmap to how to create business. I'm going to bring some slides up here because I know some people are knowledge-based thinkers and some people are visual-based thinkers, but here's the shortcut. There are only 2 things that will predict your revenue, which is what business is all about, in the next 90 days. So my invitation is to you to know this first. That solves the knowledge gap, and then get really focused on the discipline of executing this. Because your business will be built on strangers. And lots of people don't tell you that. And it is the biggest mistake we make for people who want to come into the world of business. Because truthfully, you might not have an inner circle that's 100% behind your business vision, but strangers will be. When strangers can capture your imagination and see what they want, your biggest fans will be people you don't yet know. So 2 things and only 2 things predict your revenue in the next 90 days. The actions you take this week in the 5-day challenge will predict and influence where you're going to be in July, August, and September. So start now, because the crescendo and that whole idea of a leveraged system comes to play when you have the foundations in place and every piece accumulates. So number 1, you have to be able to know that your business is built on strangers, and your ability to find and meet potential people who have interest in the results you can help them achieve, the more stable your business will be. So getting in front of new people more ways, more often is critical, because you cannot grow a business when you don't get to know new people. Eventually, it always stalls. It's the lifeblood of your business. Number 2 is the only time some money will move hand in life is when there's an invitation to do so. It's the ask. So you need to be clear that it is up to you to be very explicit with an invitation. You are not in control of whether someone says yes or no. You need to leave that responsibility to God and the timing that He has in His master plan. But you do get to control the actions you take. So for me, I always look quickly and regularly at my numbers because business is a math game. How many people am I meeting that have the potential to become potential buyers or customers or clients, choose which word you like, and how many offers I am making, which is how many invitations to the offers and services I bring will dictate how successful I am. So that's the first piece of the puzzle I want you to know, because most people don't tell you this, and then you wonder what you're doing and why it's not working. But the second piece of the puzzle, and I know this because I have spent almost 30 years in the world of business, and I've helped more than 400 customers create $1 billion. And I said B with a billion based on this foundation. It's why I kept getting invitations to coffee. So you don't know me, or I know Lorna knows me and Lisa knows me, but some of you might not know me well yet. So just take it on faith that they vouched for me and that this is solid gold advice. There are 3 things every business on the planet needs. There's actually 5 in total, but you don't get to really play with 4 and 5 until you have the first 3. And I want you to walk before you run. For those that really want the whole 5, I will tell you them. But the first thing of the puzzle is that you've got to be able to identify and attract your next customer, client, or buyer. That's a skill. It's a skill you need to acquire. The sooner you learn to acquire it through action, the more momentum you will build with every day that you show up and thank the Lord that you have the opportunity to ask and to invite and to gift and to expand capacity. Number 2 is that your responsibility is to spark curiosity, to move somebody predictably, profitably, and in a short period of time, ideally, from curious to a yes. And here's a great human biology truth. We are wired to say yes. And if we can say yes to 5 things, affirm, and when Lisa talked about affirmations, if you can affirm 5 steps with another human being, you're in partnership with them. And the 6th one is almost always guaranteed to be affirmative. So your job is never to manipulate. Your job is never to coerce. Your job is to invite movement. And when certain people move forward, you go, you're my people. You're my tribe. You're my sisters. You're my brothers. Let's keep you moving. If it's right for them, they will keep moving. But your job to move them predictably is what matters. And I have a really controversial opinion about the world of business. I do not believe there's one way to play. A lot of business mentors will tell you there's the 3 steps here and the 5 things here. And yes, I've given you 3, but I'm saying play in any permutation you like. That's what makes me different as a business mentor, because I have worked with 400 customers. I said, I have not seen any 2 do exactly the same thing, and they've all been successful. What matters is you understand the connections between the foundations, and you get to choose the lane, and you get to represent the values of you as a human being, and you get to call in partners who have shared values. So there's not one way to do it, but your ability to influence, your ability to spark curiosity is what will make it fun, feel like oxygen, and where you never get tired. Number 3, you have to remember, I gave you a clue, but it is up to you to lead. It's up to you to say, I have something of value. It's up to you to believe, to have faith in the ownership, to lead the offer when someone says, I'm curious, tell me more. And this is not selling. This is inviting. And nothing moves hands financially until there is an exchange of value. And what's really important for you to understand is you see value in the opportunity, or you wouldn't be in business. What's important to recognize that the value exchange has 2 or more parties in it. What gets the movement is what the other party sees. So I want you to be thinking about, what does the other person I'm connecting to want, desire, and how do I invite curiosity to say, tell me more? Because your truth is that wealth is created and best shared. Our journey is not one we take together. But if you can identify who you want to play with, and you can spark curiosity with them, and you can have a leadership that says, it's up to me to invite, because I don't control the outcome, but I can control my actions, your business will move predictably, like an engine. And I want to give you one final tip here, because there's a really important distinction, is to recognize, while I said your business was built on strangers, not everybody will be your customer, your partner, and your inner circle. And that's the beautiful thing about the planet. There's 8 billion people on it. You might not have the fans in your inner circle, but a stranger is looking for you. And you can serve a really beautiful purpose by finding them, inviting them, and collaborating with them. But buyers are a small subset. Buyers, customers, or clients. On any given day, it's 3% of the total population that is ready to say yes to you, which means you must ask more than once. You must invite more than once. And you need to be clear that you're going to still be here in a year when they are ready at the timing that they are at. And you don't get to sit in judgment and shame and any kind of personal casting of doubt into their choices. Trust the bigger picture. It is already foretold. But when you are looking for your buyer, I will tell you, buyers have 3 unique characteristics. The first thing is they're already problem aware. Your job is not to educate and convince ever. Your job is to show the people that are already aware that there's a gap, a possible alternative, and invite them to say, would you like to learn about this option? Because in the world, with all its creativity, there's a lot of choices. But you need to know who you're serving and what makes you the right, safe bet. But they're problem aware. So you've got to look for people who are already seeking, because that's part number 2. They have tried to solve this on their own. They've Googled it. They may have invested in courses. They may have been in communities you serve, but there's a universal truth that they know. They have drawn a line in the sand, perhaps more than once, perhaps 100 times, perhaps 1,000 times, and say, I don't like the current reality I'm living in, but I don't know how to get to the other side because I haven't been successful getting there yet. And your job is to simply plant curiosity that says, that's okay that you haven't got there. I have been on the other side of that line in the sand, and I invite you to explore, see, and know that there's possibility over here. And if someone says, I need some possibility and hope in my life, I want you to have the courage to say, I am a work in progress, but I show up to be seen by you. And I am welcoming you into conversation. Because when they are ready to say yes, they have commitment to the changed behaviors. And that's the action takers. And not everybody will get there in a clear line. And I think the worst marketing advice out there, soapbox moment, the worst marketing out there is to lead with fear. And you see it every day. You say, marketers traditionally would say, lean on the pain, tell me the pain, focus on the pain, and I am not gonna have it in my life. And I encourage you to also say, nope, not on my watch. What's really important is you recognize your humanness and your ability to connect to another human being and meet them where they are, which is in the dark with a problem that they want solved, and they're looking for leadership. And you get to go and connect in that space and say, I don't judge you, I don't shame you, I invite you to see a possible alternative. And I will educate you on why this, in my opinion, is a fit for you, and invite them to move with you, in hand with you, and in faith with you. Because doing so is how we create the ripples. So that's what I want to share with you. Business is elegantly simple. It is not at all effortless, but you also don't need to lead into the complexity that, in my opinion, the devil's really advocating for. It is simpler than you think. Know that 2 things predict your revenue. Focus on the 3 foundations that build a business. For those that are still going, you told me 3, I want to know all 5. Number 1 was buyers. Who is your client, customer, or buyer? Number 2 is, how do you move them from curious to yes? How do you create value in the market as seen in the eyes of the buyer? Because you're about service here. And number 4 is influence. That's a self, of others, of the greater good, and of the spirit. And number 5 is, you're here to create profit. And profit means you have choice and you can do amazing things with wealth. Wealth of all 5 styles. But doing so is a choice. And I will tell you where we started. It's not enough to white knuckle it. I want you to expand your capacity, because I believe in my world, business is elegantly simple. And I want to gift you 2 resources to help you. Because if you're going, I like this at first glance, but I need to digest it and think about it. And then my next big question will be, where do I go? I have a free resource. It is a strategy, 25 ways right now in the marketplace that will tell you people find customers. I am not inviting you to do 25 things. I'm inviting you to read through it and say, this is the one way I want to do it. This is the way I want to find my people. This is the way I want to feel like oxygen in my business. And then I want you to say, I'm going to master that with the help of the Lord. And from that, you will also get a recap of the things I told you, which are the 3 characteristics of the buyers in case you get lost, and the 4 things that you will work on to move somebody from curious to paid client. So I'll drop the link, but there's a resource for you. It's a free gift. Just please use it as a tool and focus on simplicity. Pick one thing and get great at it. Second thing I want to do is to tell you is to come be in my community, to be around people who do know how to create this and to hold your hand along the way. I've got a great free event that's happening at the end of the month. It is about high ticket client growth. People might be going, I'm not familiar with that word. What I want to do is raise the standard of what it means to serve. High ticket clients are looking for high access. That means human to human contact. They want to see high care. They want to see results. And I want to raise the standard. So I'm bringing amazing people in my network to show you how to do this. Because when we win, our clients win. When our clients win, other people in their network win. And that's how a rising boat will lift all of us as the tide changes. Because I want the world to lead in hope. I think the fear-based time needs to take its dressing and walk off stage. And I want to invite you to be in that space. Those tickets are also free. This is going to be not just a chance to listen and to be in the room of education, as Lisa said. It's actually going to be in the space where I want you to be with peers. After every 2 speakers at this event, you'll have the opportunity to think, to apply, to question, and to find your own path forward. I'd love to see you in this room. I'd love to thank you, Lisa, for inviting me to come and share. Business can be elegantly simple. Your people are waiting. It's a choice you make to show up, and you don't control when they say yes, but you absolutely control that you choose to show up. So show up and make the ask and invite people to come with you. People need to go first. It's us who chose that path, and God chose it for us. So say yes. Everything you want is on the other side of the fear you're holding. Don't let it win. Thank you, Lisa.
I love this, Christine. I have a couple of questions that I was taking notes when you were talking. First of all, anyone else have questions for Christine? Because I will always jump in with questions if nobody else does off the top of your head. Yeah, brilliant and simple. I agree, June. You said something, when you're talking about your potential buyer. This is one thing that I've discovered, when we were talking earlier about, when you say yes to starting your own business, we're sort of trained in a lot of circles to first go after the people we know. And yet, anyone agree here? Have you ever felt like the odd man out in the general circle of people you know, right?
All the time. I'm a unicorn.
But,
Come play with
I
the
mean,
unicorns.
So why do you think, personally, I love that you said throw out the fear marketing. I love that. I agree with you. That is not kingdom to start with fear. I also know that people they make decisions either because of fear of loss or the desire to, I'm mixing it up. You know what I'm talking about. There's two things, fear of loss or potential of gain. But the fear of loss, I think that's why the marketing gets that emphasis, right? So how do you realize that this is human nature? Unfortunately, people sometimes take action more because they're afraid of losing something, right?
Versus the hope of gain.
And yet like, I agree with you. Let's get rid of the negativity. Let's not have that be part of our system, right?
Well, the first thing I think, the reason why I think there is a model out there that says start with people you know is because the expectation is that you have an inner circle that will allow you to practice.
Right.
Okay. And you cannot get great at a skill through imagination. You have to get great at a skill through lived experience. And
Look at
so the
Laura. That's
strategy
so good.
here is start with people who hopefully are not really intending to say yes. I mean, if it happens, beautiful. Say thank you for the grace that that is. But what
Yeah.
it is really intended to say is to practice in a safe space. The truth is, though, your business will stall. And I will tell you this, it's not about the stall that matters, it's how you pick yourself up from the stall, which means you have to find strangers. And what I don't mean is be the creepy, weird person, but I do want you to practice talking to strangers. And I mean that from go compliment somebody in the Starbucks lineup or go say a compliment to somebody in the grocery store lineup, because you have to get used to the fact that you have to be seen. And you get to take as long as you want on that path. But visibility is not a nice to have, it is a necessary part of growth and of being in the light and of being an advocate and of making the ripples in the way that you've been asked and called to do. So when I think about that strategy, to me, it's about you need a safe space to practice. There's a big caveat and expectation that most of your inner circle will have your back. Truth is, most of us realize really quickly they don't. And it's a first test, which is, do you want it? And every time I'm in a place of growth and I'm, running against discomfort, and I have something on my desk that says, growth happens outside your comfort zone, I challenge myself to get up every day and say, what did you do that made you uncomfortable? Because the lessons of today will be the platform from which I grow tomorrow. And if I skip and get lazy, I fall short of the potential. And you said that, why do I get out of bed every day? I said, I don't want to get to the end of my days, whatever that length is, and say I missed the opportunity that I was given and asked to stand and represent. And so my invitation to you is, yeah, if you've got an awesome inner circle, use it from a practice perspective without the expectation of the yes, because the yeses are not in your control, but you can commit to getting great. And from there, use that platform to keep inviting.
And Christine, let's use our community as a very tactical, practical example. Okay. So we have our community is multifaceted because we are here in our intimate group, the Kingdom Wealth Creators. Over the last 13 months, there's probably about 1,500 that have said yes at some point. We're part of this much larger organization in the 100X Kingdom Entrepreneurship Group, but we're also teaching about our Better platform, how people can create their referral business within Better. So there's a couple different layers. And I'm curious your thoughts on, what I find is people say yes to, well, yes, I need to make more money. I want to help other people make more money. There's lots of solutions on our platform that will help people. We're going to talk the last few minutes we have about our debt platform, Prosperity Financial. So let's use that example for, we have a debt crisis in our country right now. That is why Prosperity Financial is doing so well. There is a need for it, right? Whether it's student loan debt or credit card debt. So we know there's a need. We know that we checked that box. Now we also know, but we don't necessarily who has that need. We don't necessarily know that. So this is my general thought process. I think of doctors, I think of nurses, I think of teachers, I think of people that I just helped a pharmacist. So I think of people that I would imagine would have student loan debt, for example, right? Um, it's not necessarily who we know in that case. I certainly wouldn't leave behind the low-hanging fruit, at least let people know that you can help them. But when you think about going to market with an idea, how do you honor the people that you know, but then really go where you know you really need to go, which is the people you don't know, right?
Yeah, I think it's twofold. The first thing you need to remember is that our job is never to assume what the other party experiences. And I will tell you, the hardest thing I coach on is don't edit who you ask. You don't know whether the story on the outside is the truth or not, and you don't sit in judgment of it. So your job is to just get your ask on, number one. The second piece of that is to recognize that we need to talk about the movement. And the goal, again, it was not selling, was curiosity, and which is 5 steps to get somebody to 6. 6th is really going to where you start to make them move with a more concrete product or solution, perhaps. But the first thing is, let's normalize this is everywhere, because it's everywhere. Second thing is, when it is everywhere, how do we bring the light into the darkness? Which is, do you even know there's hope? From there, that's a step. It's a movement piece. From there, saying the step is going to require work. And that's where most people stop moving, because they're like, I don't want to move. I'm just going to put my head back in the sand, which is fine. They might not be your buyer yet, but they are curious. And you want to keep them moving, because from that point, you're saying it's possible and it is going to take effort, but effort you can handle. That's confidence. That's programs, systems, and it's saying it's a journey and not a milestone. You didn't get here overnight. You're not going to get out of it overnight either. But what you do want is a trusted partner. And you know what I've done is I've lived in this fire a long time and I can guide. So I invite you to keep moving with me. And as you start to do that, that still really moves. And I think when you talk about being in a community, what I want to shine one particular light on is the community that you're part of, you all have similar values and you all believe in what you're selling, which is a program, a service, a faith, and a number of ways to support other human beings. What you will learn from each other is asking this question: why did you say yes? That's the question you should be asking to your peers in the business that you're part of, the community you're part of. What you should not be expecting is for them to be your buyer, but you're going to take the insights and use that to equip yourself to have good listening ears in the marketplace. But the truth will be, that's a room of enlightenment. Your next buyer is in the room of darkness. And so you can learn from the knowledge, but you're going to then invite, I see you, I normalize it, I don't judge you, I want you to know there's hope, and are you curious about what the steps are? Part of the reason we struggle to find clients is that we rush too fast. We're trying to sell them their debt crisis is solved, and it's not that I don't want that. It's just that that seems impossible, like a unicorn. And so if you're selling me a unicorn, I'm going to say, you're cool, love you, but I'm not going to say yes to you in a product. But if you say to me, I could make one step, I can help you build a program, a plan that you can disciplinedly chunk away $10 at a time, $10 seems a reasonable step for me. My invitation is slow it down. My invitation is take the judgment out of it. My invitation is, yes, you need to show curiosity that you have a solution, but you always are checking with your partner on the other side, this partnership equation. Are they still moving? Are they still buying in? Where are they getting overwhelmed? And you need to keep it simple. And that might mean you walk 10 steps with one and 100 steps with another. My question to you as the business owner is, what are you willing to do to create the result? That's a personal question to ask every single day.
I love this. And I think, Christine, what you're sharing in your community is just so elementally crucial to how people can, there's work that we get to do. We get to hire coaches, we get to enroll in programs, we get to go back to university, really, when it comes to entrepreneurship. So, if the things that Christine has been sharing with you, I know we all have gaps in these things
Me
that she
too.
teaches.
And I've been at this a long time.
Take advantage of, first of all, just take advantage of the content she shared today. On your portal, you're going to have your free gift link that she shared. I'm going to go to your event. I think that sounds amazing, Christine. So, say yes to the things that make sense for you. Not everybody needs what she's sharing. I personally think all of us do, but
Well, and it's a question of
maybe
when.
it's maybe not in the right sequence. That's exactly
Correct.
what I was going to say. Because the reality is you only have so many hours in the day, right? But remember, in our community, if all your goal is right now is to bring more people to the love of Jesus, I'm going to start there. I would be inviting them to Kingdom Seekers. I would be inviting them to our next event that we do with our community, with Pedro. We know that everyone moves in their faith with us every step of the way. If you are ready to find your ideal client, you got to really look at where you're at personally. I know that with our platform, you can start making money tomorrow, but it does take focus. It does take time and your energy to decide what strategy you're going to start with, right? But you get to move that needle every step of the way. So Christine, thank you so much for joining us.
You're
Thank
welcome.
everyone. Come connect. Absolutely. Okay, perfect. Make sure you click on her link. It's going to be in your portal as well. And Christine, I'm excited to learn more from you. Let's make sure we carve out some time, like we talked about, so we can help you also leverage the better platform, figure out, what tools will make sense for you to do that. So today, friends, you're going to see in your portal, your assignment for today is we want to help you know where is your money going. We talked yesterday about the idea that if we are going to be entrusted with God's most precious thing, which is serving more people, his most precious asset is people. We get to really take good care of what we have. I had a blessing of meeting with a lady today with Donis in our Kingdom Wealth group, and this amazing woman. She's been in business for herself for years. Runs a cleaning business. The idea of that system-driven business really hadn't occurred to her. This is, by the way, 90% of business owners out there. 90% of them are working their tail off, hardly making a living, barely, definitely not going on holiday every other month, like we know is possible in our world of abundance. And she was so clear that she really didn't know. In this case, we were doing a policy review. She didn't even know where her policy was. How can you expect this important asset, which I think of life insurance as, to protect your family if you don't even know where it is, right? So it's being really diligent and careful about what we've already got in our hands before God's going to trust us with more. So take some time. Today was we didn't get to talk too much about prosperity. We're going to talk about that a little bit more tomorrow, but I thought Christine's what she shared was really, really, we needed to give it more time today. So Christine, thank you for joining us. Friends, if you haven't yet, just be expecting a call from our success team. Our goal in that call is to be here for you as a guide. Let us know how we can support you, help you start implementing your Kingdom Wealth formula, which does start with protection first, protection of you, the wealth builder, protection of your assets. So be expecting that call from us, and it is complimentary, so take advantage of it, along with all these amazing free gifts that our speakers are sharing. So Christine, thank you so much, my dear, for joining us. Donis, are you doing our giveaway today? Okay, super. Let's see who our lucky winner is today. Let's see who's the winner. Is it Dana or Mark? On the edge. Dana, congratulations, my dear. Be expecting your $20 Amazon gift card. Okay, everybody. Well, have an amazing rest of your day. I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place, where we're going to have even more wisdom brought to us. Blessings, everybody, in this amazing life journey. We'll see you soon.